There is something dark and sinister going on in the most recent clip from season 5 of The Chosen, something that few people noticed. On the surface, it appears that we're learning why the religious leaders decide to kill Jesus, that it's all rooted in Shmuel and anger at Jesus' recent actions. But all of this is really just a facade, hiding a real, deeper reason that Jesus will be put to death, something that we can only understand when we focus on the other men in this room, and a scripture that never actually appears in the show. You see, the plot to kill Jesus actually begins long before this moment. In fact, it happens at the very beginning of Jesus' ministry. In just the 3rd chapter of Mark's gospel, he tells us that one day Jesus goes into a synagogue and heals a man whose hand is shriveled. And because it's the Sabbath, this infuriates the religious leaders. In fact, it makes them so angry that Mark tells us the Pharisees went out and began to plot with the Herodians how they might kill Jesus. So from the very beginning, these men have wanted Jesus dead. In fact, they want him dead so badly that they're even willing to join forces with the Herodians, men that they absolutely cannot stand, in order to accomplish this. But here's the thing, even this moment is misleading. Because it isn't really the fact that Jesus heals on the Sabbath that makes these men want to kill Jesus. That's the reason that they give. But a closer look reveals that they have a different motive. And in order to find that, we have to keep reading. You see, later in Mark 3, Mark tells us of another confrontation between Jesus and the religious leaders, this one coming in his hometown of Nazareth. In this instance, religious leaders travel from Jerusalem and try to discredit Jesus by saying he is possessed by Beelzebul, and by the ruler of the demons he expels the demons. Now, as soon as we read this, we can tell that something is off. I mean, why in the world would they say that casting out demons is a bad thing? That somehow it suggests that Jesus is possessed by demons. That's like saying that this bald head of mine means that I must be working for Rogaine.
I don't think so.
Because again, all of this really isn't about the specific things that Jesus is doing. The religious leaders are grasping at straws. They don't have any real evidence that Jesus is possessed by demons. None of the miracles that he's performed suggest this. This has nothing to do even with healing a man on the Sabbath. It is all a facade. Something to distract people from the real reason that Jesus terrifies them so much. And when we dig in just a little deeper and look just a little closer at this moment, we can uncover what it actually is that has these religious leaders plotting against Jesus. You see, one of the things you always want to do when studying the Bible is to focus on key details, things that seem to define a verse or a passage. And in this case, the one key detail that matters so much is the specific miracle that Jesus is performing. He's casting out demons and impure spirits, something that he actually does several times in Scripture. But there's one particular instance that stands out above all the rest, and that is the very first time that Jesus casts out a demon. Because something happens that first time that forever alters Jesus' relationship with religious leaders and sets in motion the plot against his life. Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the kind of insights that we're sharing in this video, then I want to let you know about a free resource we have that will help you to learn things like this on your own. It's called 7 Biblical Secrets Hidden in the Chosen. This is a free tool that will not only show you some amazing things in Scripture that you've never seen before, it will also teach you how to discover them on your own. So if you'd like to download this free resource, just click the link in the description or go to www.brandonrobbinsministry.com/chosensecrets. All right, now back to the video. You see, in Mark 1, soon after Jesus begins his ministry, he enters a synagogue and encounters a man who's possessed by demons. But what's more important in this moment is not what Jesus does, but how the crowd reacts to it. Mark says the people were amazed at this teaching because he taught them as one who had authority, not as the teachers of the law. And he goes on to say, the people were all so amazed that they asked each other, "What is this? A new teaching and with authority. He even gives orders to impure spirits and they obey him." Now, just think about how this would hit the religious leaders in the gut. To see Jesus come along and suddenly everyone is questioning their authority. From the moment Jesus comes on the scene, the authority of the religious leaders is weakened. People look at him, A man who has no training, who is able to perform signs and miracles that they cannot perform, and instantly their status is diminished. These men who had devoted their entire lives to get to this place, who had studied for years and years, who had left their homes and their families, who were trusted members of their community. And in one moment, Jesus threatens to undo all of that. This is the real reason that Jesus is put to death by the religious leaders. Shmuel is a convenient distraction, a person people can look to and say, he wanted Jesus killed. But the voting amongst the Sanhedrin shows that they were already prepared to convict Jesus. Many of them have been plotting and thinking about this for years, and now the moment has finally come. Jesus doesn't have to die because he raised Lazarus from the dead, or because he claims to be the Messiah, or even because he heals on the Sabbath. The real reason Jesus has to die is so that things can go back to normal, so that people will trust and follow their rabbis once again. Jewish society rested upon these institutional leaders, and Jesus has pierced that foundation. So the only thing left to do is pierce him. Hey, just a reminder, if you enjoyed this video and the kind of insights that we shared in this video, then make sure to download my free resource called 7 Biblical Secrets Hidden in the Chosen. Just click the link in the description or just go to www.brandonrobbinsministry.com/chosen secrets. Have a great week and God bless.